I should have moved mine.
First off, thank you for coming. We appreciate it. This should be something that hopefully we can do in the future. And Garrett here is offered to do a little class, a little clinic if you guys haven't swam in cold open water before. I'm Jason, by the way, the other host of this, and my wife is somewhere around here in one of the foundation shirts as well. There you are. Okay, all right. Little details about the course for you. We've got a ramp over here. There's a stone ramp walking down, and there's an orange turn buoy about 20 yards off of it. We're going to start there. We're headed to the sailing center, another orange turn buoy. Each interim buoy is 100 meters. The yellow one's in the center means you're halfway mark. If you guys, some of you I know are new athletes from the Little Elm group and things like that. That's awesome that you guys are here. You kind of set it up so that way if you're not used to swimming open water, if you want to take off towards the sailing center down there, make it to the orange buoy, and then swim to shore and walk the trail back. If you don't want to do the whole 1,000, you're welcome to do that. If you want to make the turn at the orange buoy, come on back. You got another 300 and then 300 in, makes for a total of 1,000 meters. 2 laps will get you at 1.2 distance. Other than that, we've got kayaks in the water for support. Just yell out, hold your hand up, help, come get me. There'll be a couple of them floating about. There'll be a paddleboard as well. Wetsuits, obviously, it's cold. It's about 65 degrees. It's not that bad. This is crazy for December. This shouldn't be happening. It's actually kind of repulsive. Other than that, Garrett, do your thing, dude.
Cool, yeah, so I'm going to bring up some things about cold water swimming. But before we get going, I'm Garrett Mayeaux. For those of you who don't know me in the area, I'm a professional triathlete. I think I'm the only male pro that lives and trains here in Dallas area. And I'm excited about Little Elm because it's our first big Ironman branded event. For those of you that are contending it, it's going to be awesome. I hope the community gets behind it and supports it. As you all see here, this is a huge open water swim. A lot of you guys came from the Little Elm Facebook page, I think, and then from various groups in the community. So thanks for all showing up. It's funny because me and Jason originally got this idea of oh, we love this place to swim. We swim here semi-regularly just from the beach that is closed now, but we kind of go around the area and then get in where we're allowed to. And this is one of the places that you're allowed to use the public lake here. And so we were like, oh, a couple people will show up. And then as the group started growing and growing and growing, we were like, oh, I don't know if we can put this many people on the dock. So let's find a little better spot along the way. So thanks for coming. This is really awesome. Cool to see the triathlon and the open water swimming community. And then I wanted to just give a big thanks to Jason because none of this would be possible. He organized getting the buoys, the anchors. He got some people to come and help him put them out. So big thank you to Anthony and Sam who are over here.
Thank you.
Guys, it would be kind of like a, hey, come swim, and wouldn't be as safe and secure either. Okay, so we point out the course and everything, and I'm going to cover your expectations for cold water swimming and cold water events. I'm going to run through everything from preparations before you get ready for the swimming event a couple weeks out, and then as you get closer, I'm going to cover a couple things on what to do at the race before you get in, and then what to do right towards the end of the swim that's going to help you get out of the water and hopefully experience little to no dizziness, which is a common problem with cold water swimming, and lower leg cramping issues. We're going to try to give you some tips to avoid those things towards the end of this. And at the end of it, I'll take 2 to 3 questions because I don't want to keep everybody here for too long before we go get in. And if you have other questions, I'll stick around right here. Feel free to come up, ask them. There might be some other people who want to stick around and hear the same kind of things. So what to expect when you do cold water swimming is basically your body's going to think that anything around 82, 80 degrees is cold because of our core normal body temperature. So just expect it to be cold, and there's no way around it unless you love doing cold plunges. If you've kind of conditioned yourself to doing some cold plunges, you're going to definitely handle cold water swimming better than people that are like me, that are through and through Texans and absolutely hate cold weather, cold water, and anything cold. So always expect for about 30 seconds when you first get in the water, even if you're really experienced with cold plunges, when you're at an event or you're getting ready to swim, it's just a completely different environment. Our bodies are used to being free, breathing air freely, and not having any pressure around it. So anytime you get in the water, it's like when you're dancing around before you get in the pool. For a lot of us that are, the more experienced you are, the more you kind of sit and stretch and warm up before you actually get in the water itself. So expect the first 30 seconds when you're in the cold water to be really uncomfortable, and then know that it will pass. If you take anything from this, know that as a triathlete, your body is a terrible master but a great servant. Your brain should always be the master and tell your body what to do when it receives the feedback. So remember that you can overcome a lot of things if you keep that in mind. So you'll start to feel a little bit better after that 30 seconds. Once you get to a minute, you'll start to settle in. You'll be able to move a little bit easier. And then once you get to 3 minutes, if you can make it that long in cold water, most people try to get out by then if they are experiencing negative feedback. If you can get past that 3-minute mark, your body's super adaptable, and that's one of the best things about it. And it will adapt, and you'll get much more comfortable if you just kind of keep in a steady, comfortable rhythm. So typically for most people, at around 65 degrees, you may experience something we call a cold shock. And that's something that a lot of people, almost everybody in space,
by the way.
on these tips, it might help you not experience it. Typically for most people, you'll experience that, but what you can do is take your face out of the water, and you can tread, float, or just stay vertical if you have a wetsuit on, and stay calm. Try to take deep, long breaths, because what's going to happen is your heart rate's going to increase, your breathing rate's going to increase, and you're going to have a lot of reflexive nervous system movements, like your body's just going to want to like freeze and jolt a little bit. That will pass if you just let it pass. And then ease yourself back into putting your face in the water. I'm going to cover why in just a second. So it's just a nervous system response. There's nothing wrong with you. You'll get past that part if you ease back in. So some race rules that some of you might be curious about, some of you might already know, and I explained to a couple of you because you already asked the question. At Ironman events in North America, every event is usually sanctioned by USA Triathlon. And that means they use their rule set to set up and guide them throughout what to do with cold swims. So if the water temperature and the air temperature, you add it together, if it's under 120 degrees, they will usually let you swim. If it's under that, then they usually will recommend a cancellation. But that's always up in the air, because in Indian Wells, the air temp was about 50s low, and the water temp was 58, and they still had to swim. So I don't know if they take the high of the day and the water temperature they add together, and they're like, oh, they'll be fine, or what they do. So don't say that's the golden standard, but in general, that's kind of what you can expect. But most of the time, if the water temperature is about 54 or lower, it's a good chance it will probably get canceled. There's small chance for that at Little Elm. The temperature ranges for the last 6 years has been about 52 is the lowest over the last 6 years in March, to about 60 degrees is the highest. So you'll probably have to swim unless the air temperature is really low, which in Texas, who knows. So any race you go to outside of the States, if you do a European one or Cozumel, they go by different rule system. Most of them are governed by World Triathlon, so if it's under 53.6, they'll cancel the swims. So that's what you can expect when you go to an event. For preparation, so a lot of people think, oh, I have to do a lot of cold swims, a lot of cold plunges, things like that. If you're a person that wants to do kind of the minimal protocol, 3 weeks time frame will be plenty to get you in a good position to take on a cold swim. If 3 weeks out, if you can go and do some cold water swims in your local lake, if you can have a pool in your backyard, that will oftentimes work if it's cold enough where you live, where you train. If that water's under 65, most of the time that can be great training for you. And what you want to do within the 1 to 3 weeks out is try to get to that water 1 to 3 times per week. In my experience, I've done once a week. I've swam here actually when I've led into an event like Indian Wells or La Quinta 70.3, that the temperature's always in the mid to low, maybe upper 50s. And when I've done that once a week leading into the event, and all you have to do is go and get in the water for 3 to 10 minutes max. You don't have to swim longer than that if you don't want to in the really cold water temperatures. Even that, for swimming purposes, that's going to help you. And then if you want to do cold plunges, you can do those, but you want to stay in for longer than 30 seconds to get the nervous system adaptation. And why it's such a short time window, a lot of us do training and we're like, it takes forever to get faster at running, forever to get faster in biking, swimming, all that. You add it together and it can be tough. That's always like aerobic muscle conditioning adaptations that take longer through processes. Your nervous system can adapt really quick when it comes to reflexes. So that's why 3 weeks out, if you can do that, and then even you'll get adaptations within 1 week. So it gets to 1 week, you haven't really been able to prepare, you've been busy with work, whatever it is. What you can do is do the cold shower technique, which some people do. You can get in the shower, turn it on cold, stand under it, and make sure the water hits your face. If you avoid your face, you're not going to get as much of an adaptation to take on the cold water when it comes. And you want to stay in for 30 to 60 seconds, 90 seconds. And then you can do face immersion also if you don't want to do that. All you need is a cold bucket of water, throw some ice in it. You can put your face in, blow bubbles out. If at first you freak out, just kind of keep going for it. You're safe, but that will also help you train the reflex if you want to do the most minimally invasive thing you can do. It's all due to like the trigeminal nerve response, and that's why we have that cold shock. Most of it, you can get your body in and not have the cold shock feeling. You can get up to about halfway in the torso and not have the feeling. A lot of times if you're in pretty cold water, you might get shocked if you go to above your chest. It's all has to do with the torso and mostly the face. Because you have cold sensory receptors in your face that are very dense. So when they detect a threat, they're going to shunt the blood from your extremities, like your hands, fingers, your legs, even from they'll vasoconstrict, which means they'll push the blood away from your brain, and they're going to push it to your core to protect your heart. And when that happens, sometimes it just is a systematic response that makes you freak out. So these are all little things that can best help you avoid that feeling, because it can be a very scary feeling. So on race day, if you have a neoprene cap at 65 degrees or less, I recommend always to wear one if you have one. You don't have to. You can get away without it with no problems for a lot of people, but some people will experience dizziness when they get out of the water, because heat's going to leave from your hands, your feet, and your head. So if you can prevent that, that will help. And then I would say same for booties, especially if you're older, because you're not going to have as good a blood flow to your extremities already. So if you can put booties on, that's going to help you. And you don't have to worry about your hands, because in Ironman events, they don't let you put gloves on. In training, if you want to swim a lot of open water, throw some gloves on if it makes you feel more comfortable. So here's some do's and don'ts on race day that I've heard people say they do, and I've heard some people recommend it to others that I've done some research, and I've even tried it myself, and learned that it doesn't work or it does work. So pre-swim, and if you're going to Little Elm as your first time, or you've done it a couple times and you haven't tried this, there's most likely going to be an area where you can wade or dunk or get in. At Little Elm, there's a buoy area that we're not supposed to get in and use that before you get lined up for the race. I would recommend going and getting in that water for about 3 minutes. And when you get in, everybody's going to want to do it differently. The way I would approach it is ease yourself in, let the cold, your body get used to the cold as you wade in, get it to your zipper in the wetsuit, let it creep through, and then get a little bit in your suit, and then let that kind of sift through the body before you put your face in. And then my preference is I like to actually start to take a couple strokes before I put my face all the way in. Because that lets my body know it's safe, I can move. So if you ever done like a Tarzan drill, I kind of keep my head above the water, I'll take a couple strokes, nice, smooth, and easy, and I'll blow air out of my nose, I'll start to put my face in, and then once I get more comfortable with that, then I'll put my face all the way in and I'll start swimming nice and easy, and use a breathing pattern that you mostly train with to be the most comfortable. But try to do that dunk, try to do that pre-swim if you can, and then go stand in line. You might be a little bit cold once you do that if the air temperature is really cold, but it'll be very worth it, because if you get in and your core temp is still pretty high because you've done a warm-up, you stretched, loosened up, you're going to have some issues I'll talk about here in just a second. If you can't do that, so some races don't let you get in the water at all or have a pre-swim, bring a bottle of water with you. And take that bottle of water before you leave your friends, your family, or if there's a trash can near the swim entry area, that you can take that bottle of water and say pour it on your face a little bit, and if it's cold, even better, and then pour it in your suit, because that's also not only going to put some water in the suit, which will get a little layer in there, and it'll help your body get that cold experience first before you get in the water, but it'll also loosen up the suit to fit you better, and you'll be more comfortable with movement once you get in the water. Those things can be super helpful, and they're super small, super easy to do. The best body temperature to enter, because a lot of people have asked, well, should I do like some running in my wetsuit? Should I get my body warm inside before I get in cold water? That's actually going to give you a worse response when you get in the water, because you're going to warm your body up, and so you're going to have everything vasodilated, so all your blood vessels are going to be pumping blood to everything, and then you're going to create a big comparison from that cold water to your body temperature. And so it's going to be a more forceful shunting of the blood flow around your body, which is going to make your nervous system act more dramatically. It's going to overreact versus be a little bit more calm and neutral. So the best body temperature is a neutral body temperature when you get in the water. So it also might be why I recommend for some people to put your suit at halfway, because if you have a day like this at a race where it's pretty hot and the water's pretty cold, and you get really hot in your suit before you get in, that can create more heat here and a higher difference in the temperature, and you want to try to keep them as close as possible. So some more don'ts. Some people think it's better to have a warm bottle of water and dump it on you. Don't do that. That's going to do the same thing. It'll increase your cold shock risk, and dilate the blood vessels, all that stuff we just mentioned. Same thing happens if you jog. What you can do, I'm sure if you've done Waco, you experienced that. In Texas, if you've done that, just wait, stay chill, talk to friends, try to stay calm, and then do some easy movements. Some light stuff like a tricep stretch is super good. Take in your wetsuit, do a streamline, really get the shoulders limbered up before you get in the water, and just take some easy movements to warm up before you get into the water to do your race. So when you enter and you get started, first off, everybody thinks like you're going to get beat up in the beginning of the swim, and it can happen. I know I talked to somebody who said he got kicked in the face at Waco and then just went down, had a hard time, and they pulled him out of the water. So people aren't intentionally trying to hit you and hurt you. Most times when people bump into you, they try to move out of the way and get some clear space. So just know everybody's trying to do that. I hope you try to do that for them too. Create space for everybody, just swim and be as safe as possible in the water. So when you first get in, just if it's cold, give yourself some time again to get acclimated. Get in, wait a little bit, swim a little, take your time getting your face in the water because that's going to be the biggest, hardest part for a lot of you. And just that's pretty much the best way you can do when you enter the water is just take your time, take it slow when you start swimming, take some smooth strokes, get comfortable, and then bring your speed up once you get going. And then something super important to do that a lot of people neglect is we don't like to use our legs as triathletes when we swim, and that's okay, but when you get to the end of the swim, especially if you are some people that have cut your wetsuit legs short, a lot of the wetsuits have the design for you to do it. You can see this has little like slits here. Basically, you can cut along those lines. A lot of tri-suits have that, and some have material all the way up to the knee panel where you can cut and make it short, and a lot of people do that so you can strip it off really easily. I would say, like, do that if you need to, but also leave it if you can, because if you are swimming in a lot of cold water races and you have exposure of your leg up to your calf, if your soleus muscle or your calf muscle is exposed to that cold water and you don't kick much, when you get out of the water and you first go into that step and it tightens up that muscle's first response with no blood flow is going to be to protect itself. And the only way if someone's going to punch you that you protect yourself is you dodge it, or you tighten up, right? So your calf's going to do the same thing. Those muscles are just going to tighten up on you, and you're going to get those cramps. So what you want to do to try to avoid that is either get the wetsuit and let it stay a little bit longer. Don't cut it up too high to where it covers all those muscles that are important to keep warm, or include a couple quick kicks towards the end of the swim. In about the last 200, you can see the buoy, the stairs, whatever it is, that's the exit. Try to do just a couple 2-beat, 3-beat kicks, a quick boom, 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 and then go back to normal swimming. Boom, boom, boom. Do it every now and then to bring some blood flow back into those muscles. Let your ankles stay loose, let everything move and get some blood flow in, and then that will help once you get to land. You'll avoid that cramping, and it'll also kill two birds with one stone. It's going to increase your blood pressure just a little bit because all that shunting, you're going to bring some of that blood flow that's just being stationary surge towards the end. Say you got some people who've been swimming around, you really want to beat them out of the water. Try to not get that feeling and try to just stay smooth as you finish the last 200 meters and get out smooth, because then that's going to help to increase the ability to get blood flow back to where it needs to go. And if you do those couple of kicks, that'll help stabilize everything. So the last thing I want to just talk about is the difference between that cold shock feeling and the cold you might experience, and then knowing what's hypothermia. Because that's what causes the problem with cold water swimming, is if you get hypothermia. So most things are going to be very normal responses, even though they can be scary, unless you get to where you're uncontrollably shivering, or you feel like you're starting to get a lot of confusion. So if you're kind of getting all lost and turned around, a couple things I want you to try to do is shake water out of your ears, because if you get water in one ear but not the other, it can give you the spins. So get the water out of your ear. And then if you're still confused and really dizzy, just take a second to get your bearings and maybe ask for help, because you might start to get the first signs of hypothermia. And then if you wear earplugs, say you get an earache the week before the race and you're going to wear an earplug, put another earplug in the other ear, or else you will have a problem with getting dizzy because of the cold water getting in one ear and not the other. So always plug the ears up if you're going to use one plug, or just wear them because you want to wear them. That's all the cold water tips I have. I hope that helps a lot. I hope you learned something. I know it was a lot of stuff. If you're interested in grabbing some of this information, because if you want to remember some of it, let me know. I can share it to the Facebook page. A lot of it's chicken scratch, so I might have to redo a sheet, but I don't mind. That's all I've got. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a good swim. If you are new and you need help, let somebody know.
It's your first open water swim, which you come up here before you get in the water. Next thing, towables are perfectly fine. You can use them. They're not mandatory. If you've got one and you want to grab it, please feel free. If you decide to cut short and you swim to shore, there's a little step up. It's about 2.5 feet. Just be careful doing that if you decide, hey, this is too cold. I'm not doing this shit. Other than that, there are 2 tables of a lot of food back there that I really don't want to go to waste. So, in about 30 minutes, we're going to cut up a couple of smoked turkeys, and there's all the sides and everything to go with it. You guys come eat. Other than that, have a good swim. If it's your first time, come on up.
Yes.
You can swim 10.
Two will be clean.